The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to connect with our affiliate sponsor, GSM Growth Agency. They're boosting e-commerce businesses to 6 and 7 figures in revenue and cover everything from ads and social media influencers to making your website better. GSM Growth Agency focuses on taking businesses from startup success to bigger success, going above and beyond to make sure growth sticks around. They're all about cool ideas, lasting partnerships, and making your mark in the e-commerce world. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. I got another great guest, cool business. I don't think we've had anybody on about with animals before. So I'm going to hear from Ryan in a minute. If you are listening on your favorite directory, leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, like the channel, ring the bells. I don't know whatever the hell you do, but to support us so guys like Ryan and me can keep connecting. So let's get on with today's show.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode. All right, Ryan. So thanks for coming on the show. You're in the West Coast or Midwest?
I'm Midwest, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Got it. Oklahoma. So that's like an hour behind me, 2 hours behind me. You're Central Time?
Yeah, we're Central.
So you're 2:10.
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. Any crazy weather out by you guys?
No, it's like 50 degrees right now. It's 25 this morning.
So you're not like somewhere you're getting 50 inches of snow or something?
No, thank God.
Me neither. Nice. All right. So I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into business or how you learned business? A lot of people just learn it trial by fire, but tell us that story. And then we'll talk about all the training you're doing with dogs, which is really cool.
Yes, the dog training stuff we got going on is awesome right now, but really I got into business. Everyone in my family owns a business.
Okay, good.
Like, yeah, my grandpa, he had a construction supply business for 54 years.
Okay.
I think my dad took it over after him, but it was a long-term business. My aunt and uncle owned a couple franchises. My other aunt and uncle have a climbing store.
Oh, wow. Like an indoor wall and the whole thing?
No. Like arborist gear. The climbing gear for like arborists, saws.
And they cut them
yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so everyone in my family owns a business, runs a business. Not everyone, but a lot of people do.
And growing up, did you work in the different businesses? Like, did you work at
I worked in the construction supply business. I did warehouse early on, and then I did some sales and product ordering, stuff like that.
So, but being like in your own business didn't frighten you. You saw your family doing it, being successful, and right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the dinner table talk, was business talk basically every night.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my house. Yeah, I know. I used to get together with friends, talk so much about business, they don't want to see me again. They're like, well, I don't want to, they're all at work jobs or whatever. And I was always doing something in the summer running.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they're still my friends, but I think I'd annoyed them.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like everyone's talking business. Like that was normal for me growing up.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. Yeah. So then what was do you remember like the first business, even when you were young, that you had? Did you like start a business, anything besides this?
Lawn care. So I did lawn care, middle school, high school, and even some right after college, or I guess in college.
Yeah.
Just because I knew it. And it was, I mean, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When it gets like 105 with a heat index and it feels like 115,
right.
It's easy. You just knock on doors and people, yes, please mow my yard.
You're willing to do it in the heat. They definitely
absolutely.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. All right. So then let's talk a little bit about the dog training business, because until I met you, I didn't really think about it. I mean, you obviously
come on, Mitch.
Trained, right? I grew up with dogs. I grew up with Ridgebacks, and I have little dogs now. But I didn't really think about it. I met you, and you got this franchise and everything. So how did it start? Like, let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. The pet industry is just starting to come on people's radars.
Yeah.
Because it's been recession proof and it's gone up the last 20 something years.
Got it.
2008 financial crisis, during COVID, pet spending went up. So now people are starting to focus on it. But
got it.
Yeah. I started training in 2008. I had a really bad dog. I mean, he was a good dog.
Right.
But he
wasn't well behaved.
He wasn't well behaved. He had all this baggage. Yeah. He was a rescue. He had aggression, anxiety.
Yeah.
He'd run away. He'd bark nonstop. He peed in the house. And it really got me obsessed with dog training. After working with different people for 2 years, 2010, I went out on my own. The people I was working for, I loved working for someone else, and then they left. So, ended up starting, wasn't going to go back to a normal career.
Dog training job with the dog training company to learn how to train your dog.
I worked with
train other people's dogs.
Both. So I trained my dog. I actually interned for free because they wouldn't hire me.
It's free education, right?
Yeah,
that counts. Okay.
Yeah, and then 2010 I started Tip Top Canine.
Okay.
And we do in-home lessons. Started with in-home lessons at clients' houses, and a few of them I would sell what's called a board and train, where we take the dog into our residence, or now in a facility. So now we're in a big facility, but in the beginning,
dogs that are really difficult, or for any dog.
Any dog.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, say you got a golden retriever and it's running away, or you want to walk him on a loose leash, or he doesn't respect your wife or kid. That's what we do. We take the dog with these behavioral issues, fix the behavioral issues, and then show mom and dad how to keep them fixed.
All right. Now, my first question is, how did it go with the first dog you had, the rescue? Did he get?
So he got trained. It just took years. It took years, and the issue was
dog at that point, right? I mean,
he's an adult. I mean, we work adult dogs all the time. It's just I didn't have the system then.
Right. Oh, okay.
So fine. I'm mixing all these different systems, and so the progress is like 5-10%.
Right.
Every few months,
trying different things and trying to get there.
Yeah. So then when I got my next dog, I got really serious. Because, if you have a dog that barks for hours,
it makes you nuts.
Yeah, it drives. Well, I still loved him, but it drives anyone you're in a relationship with nuts, like a roommate, girlfriend, etc. Like
neighbors.
Yeah. So it caused a lot of relationship problems. So with the next one, right off the bat, started training them, seeking out. Really, what I did is I just found the most expensive trainers I could find.
Figures, well, they're expensive for a reason. It's not always the case, though, right?
That is not always, but that was what I did. And it ended up working.
Right? I mean, this had to be a method that works.
Correct.
Figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So then we started, we use a method. It's based off classical conditioning. It's not reward or punishment. Because the issue, going back to Curly, my first little buddy, if I have a dog with anxiety and aggression, if he's anxious, he can probably tune out rewards, right?
Yeah, right.
And if he's aggressive and anxious, can I punish that dog? No.
He's going to react, right?
Yeah, he's going to react. So that's why the traditional methods just didn't really work. We use a classical conditioning method with a remote training collar. Great results. I can transfer the results to anyone, 9-year-old, 90-year-old, doesn't matter. It's just transferable.
Yeah. So I know we're going to be jumping around during our discussion, but so here's my question for you based on my experience. So I did grow up with dogs, right? big
Right.
ones, and they were well trained. And we went to training academies, and my
Nice.
parents were very strict. Even with the dogs I had, I mean, I slept on the floor for 3 days. I don't want a dog that's going to pee in my house and
Right.
poop on my bed. I mean, that's it. My friends might think my dogs are good, but
Right.
it took a lot of work. My cousin has
does.
a retriever. No, he's a golden retriever, and his name's Leo. He's so well behaved, but it didn't happen. Like, my cousin worked his ass off to train this dog. He's a great dog. But I find that, and I have, and I'm not singling out one friend. I got a lot of friends who have dogs, and I think that if I sent the dog away to you to train them, you would also need to train the people. Like, you bring the dog back into this environment.
Absolutely.
Right. So how do you deal with that part of it?
So 2 ways. One, so we do a boot camp. So like the dog goes home.
For the people?
For both, yeah.
Okay.
So say I take the dog, I do the take and train. I take him for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When I come home, I train your friend and his whole family on a 24-step process. And I make sure every single little thing the dog did with our team that they know.
Okay. Yeah.
They know how to replicate everything.
Right.
Then one thing that we do is different is we do a lifetime group class twice a week forever.
Oh, wow.
So we have 24 locations across the U.S. Every one of them is required to have lifetime group class.
Okay.
That way the clients always have unlimited follow-up and a trainer in their pocket. Now, the goal is hopefully they don't need it forever.
Well, yeah. And then that would be hard. Well, not forever. The dog's not going to live forever. But.
Most of them come 2 to 6 months or so.
Right.
Or they come once a month for a year. It's just there. So what happens is if they knew everything about dog training, they wouldn't call us in the first place, right?
Yeah, well, that's never going to happen. You could give away all of your methods and it's still not going to kill your business.
For sure.
Now, here's a question, and correct me if I'm wrong. What about like the scent in the house, right? So you get a dog that's been in this house.
Sure.
He's been peeing in the wrong place. He's been pooping. He hasn't been listening. He comes back into this environment. Aren't the wrong scents in the wrong places still?
Yes. So you're 100% correct on that. But so if I take that dog,
right,
I have to sit down with mom and dad and I tell them straight up, dog training, we have to be blunt with people, but kind.
Fumigate your house.
Burn the carpet.
Yeah.
No, we have to say like, hey, you got to call a professional in. They have to put deodorizer on the whole carpet. They have to go heavy so it goes into the pad. Otherwise, the behaviors will continue.
Right. Because they're just going to smell, oh, this is where I'm supposed to pee. They think it's the backyard.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I have some friends that have houses that they should just take the carpet out and start over. So, especially if you have more than one dog. A lot of us have. I had 2 dogs, one passed the summer. And, I have friends that have multiple dogs and whatever. And it's just a lot. But it's definitely, owning a dog it's like having a kid. You got to be committed to training the dog, and because it's good for the dog too, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Anxiety is not good for dogs like this free range, like natural. I don't know. I met a breeder once that said, well, we don't train the dogs because we want to bring out the natural. I'm like, that's not, dogs are domestic animals. They're not living in the wild. And these dogs are a mess. We're a mess. We didn't take a puppy from her.
Multiple of the psychologists or different studies, they point that dogs are about 2 to 2.5, some 3 years old mentally, emotionally. So like I have 2 kids, 4 and 6. At 2.5 and 3, they cannot make all their decisions and do whatever they want. That is a recipe for disaster. They'll eat Skittles every meal. Yeah. Right? I mean, no, they'll go run in the street and think it's fun.
Yeah.
So they can't make all their decisions.
Buy a car and they live, and then they'll be afraid of cars,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing with dogs is the kids keep growing. So they eventually learn the dog's mental models stay there.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. They block off at one point.
Right.
So with the dogs, they still need mom and dad. Even a mature dog still needs mom and dad to help them make those right decisions.
Yeah. I mean, our dog, so the little one passed away over in the summertime, and the other one, so she's 16. She's a Havanese. So that's
dang,
right? So she's got
that's amazing.
She's basically deaf. I'm sure she's got some eye problems, right?
Yeah.
So, you call her and she looks at you, and she would stand there, just keep looking at you, and you're waving at her. And my wife's like, she's just taunting you. I said, I don't think so. She just doesn't know what to do. Finally got to shoo her in the house or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just know she's not 16 in her mind. She's 3.
Right.
And she still runs around like she's 3, even though she can't walk too well.
Yeah, a lot of people, they want to treat their dog like a 14-year-old kid. And I'm like, nah, your expectations are crazy.
Yeah,
that's not reality.
Right. If not, you probably couldn't train them if they were. It would just be a teenager that just doesn't listen.
Right.
Exactly. So I had another question for you. Oh, So there was this thing I remember I learned when we were doing training. It's a long time ago because the big dogs, obviously I was a little kid. They required major training. These are 100
Right.
dogs.
Yeah.
They would drag me all over the yard before I went to school. We learned something called dominance down.
Okay.
Does that work? Like the whole pack mentality thing?
Kind of.
Yeah.
So the pack mentality is real.
Yeah.
Any of the dominance based stuff depends. It's real in the fact that it can work, but it always depends on the handler.
Right.
So for instance, can the handler be dominant and how strong is the dog?
Right.
So like 10, 12 years ago, I had a 9-year-old girl that could walk a 90-pound Doberman around the block on a loose leash.
Okay.
So she's training the dog. I trained it with a remote training collar, an e-collar, mild muscle stim, like a TENS unit.
Sure.
And I teach the dog, hey, when you feel this tap on the shoulder, this light half a second of tap, you have to do a command.
Yeah.
Then I put a word to it. And then I transfer that word and the tap and the leash to the little girl. And the little girl can replicate the same thing I did and get the same exact response. If we use dominance theory, the person training the dog has to be able to replicate exactly what I did, or it doesn't work.
And she may be too small to do that.
Right. And when you get a stronger breed of dog, such as a rescue pit out of fighting dogs or an Akita or Rottweiler, that's not going to happen.
Right.
That dog is going to challenge you.
Exactly.
And then
but the whole pack mentality is correct, right? The dog
Yes.
thinks like they're head of the pack, and that's why they're peeing on your house and they're not listening to you.
yeah, I've seen my great uncle, he had a weenie dog that would chase a horse.
Yeah.
If the horse is going to back down, the weenie dog's like, you better run. You better run. I'm the boss.
Right.
It doesn't matter, right? If they can get away with it, they're hierarchical beings. So they either climb the ladder or they fall in line. But if they're just kind of think they're a peer, they're kind of uncomfortable.
Right.
So we want non-confrontational, firm obedience where we make them listen, and we set firm rules, but it's not confrontational, because with the dominance theory, it is confrontational, so it can work, but there can also be consequences.
Yeah. All right. So, because I'm asking a lot of dog questions, then we'll get into the business stuff. So,
that's my jam.
yeah, of course.
I'll hit both of them all day.
Are larger dogs, in your opinion, easier to train than smaller dogs, or it really just depends on?
Just depends. Nope.
Okay. Any breeds that you think are better suited for training in the house than other breeds?
Yeah, I mean, labs, golden retrievers, doodles, those are all easy. We do them all day.
They're great dogs. They just have good nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Any of the dogs that you'd think more of like a protection breed type dogs, Belgian Malinois, Rottweilers, they're going to be Dobermans. They're going to present challenges just because of their genetics. So when people look for a dog, I always want to think, what was this dog originally bred for, regardless of what the last generation or two looked like?
It's still genetics.
Yeah, it's still got some genetics in there. So like Dobermans were originally bred by a tax collector who didn't want people robbing him. Well, you're only going to breed a dog that's going to bite people.
Yeah, of course.
So now there's lots of show line Dobermans, but they still have some original genetics. So we do awesome Dobermans. We just had one go home, but you always got to keep that in mind when you're looking at different breeds. What were they originally bred for? Original intent.
Because Dobermans seem very trainable. Like they
absolutely
listen on command and stuff. That's why they use them for guards and whatever.
Absolutely.
Our Havanese, she's a great dog. And it's funny, I've trained her to not pee in the house or chew anything. They never chewed it. But I never trained her to be off the leash. And you could let her follow. She'd follow you down the street. And
that's amazing.
It's just weird. One time she got out of the house. We couldn't find her. She got out of the gate somehow. I left the gate open probably. She went around the house. She didn't know where to go, to the side door and waited at the side door for like an hour.
That's a good dog right there.
She's like, I'm not leaving this house. These people feed me. And we found her at the door, just sitting there looking at the door. Yeah. Our other dog would have been gone. She would.
Yeah, you can't train that
and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Some dogs just have it in their nature. All right, so let's talk about the business though, because sure, you can be a good dog trainer and you can just start training dogs in the neighborhood and building a little business, but you took that a step further.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me about that journey and then how we got to franchising.
Yeah. So originally, I did everything myself. Did sales. I did lessons in boot camp. I did group classes.
Right.
And then eventually, we started hiring. And then, eventually at one point early on, we were on like 5-6 week wait lists.
Wow.
Right. Like big wait lists. And the boot camps run about $3,000 to $6,000.
Okay.
So if you're on a 6 week wait list for that, you want to figure that out.
Plus, you don't want to let your dog grow for 6 weeks before you go to training, right? You might have a window there.
Well, yeah. Normally we do like 4 months and up.
Okay.
Yeah. But so, yeah, I eventually started hiring people. So I started 2010, started hiring, growing. And then at one point, my wife said, "Hey, you can't train anyone else in my living room."
Right. Yeah, because these are people that had maybe some dog background, but you were teaching them.
Correct. And I'm teaching them and I'm training them and we're housing dogs. So we eventually moved into a facility. Now we have a big facility and a 2-story building, call center on top, training center on the bottom. But originally I'm 1,500 square foot house.
Right. At home.
Right.
You're a home-based business.
Yeah, it's a home-based business. And we still have people, we have them start out home-based, get profitable, then move into a building.
Yeah, definitely. Don't stretch your monies, make them last. Especially,
Absolutely.
as long as you're okay with the dogs coming to your house, fine.
Yeah, and sure, there's
home visits to start, right?
Yeah, we do. We'll have people also, if they don't do that because of their home situation,
right.
They'll do in-home visits for 2 or 3 years and then eventually move into a facility.
Got it. Okay, so how many employees do you have now in the facility?
Right now at corporate, we have 32. I have 32 here.
Right, but some of them are franchisor employees. They're dealing with sales, and the franchisees, and all that stuff. Some of them are
about half of them are call center, and half of them are training staff.
Got it. Okay, so the training staff's all local people. The call center. So, at what point did you moved into the facility, but you weren't franchising yet? So,
correct.
What made you go down that road, and how'd you get that started? Because it's a challenge. I've done franchise work for people as a lawyer, and it's not for everybody.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
So what we ended up doing is we kept growing, and in 2017, we're like, okay, everything marketing wise, training wise was going really good. Other people were doing the sales, other people were doing the training. We had a manager. And really, my wife and I are like, hey, we need to grow and expand. Like, at one point, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter if I show up or not. Right.
Well, then it's replicatable, right?
Right. So
but you could have opened up other locations. You could have hired a manager and opened
Correct.
Managed a chain of stores.
Yeah. We could have. We looked at that. At the time, we'd been driving 2 hours to Oklahoma City once a week for 2 years, and to meet with an executive coach and a sales coach.
Okay.
Right. So we've been driving 2 hours there, spending 2 hours back once a week. So 6 hours every single week for like 2 years or so.
Okay.
And so we're like, hey,
good coach.
Very good. Yeah. Excellent coach.
Giving up 6 hours, 1 day a week, basically.
Yeah. So it was a lot, but the Oklahoma City would be the next market we'd actually go to.
Okay. Right.
Right. Sense. And so we're like, hey, do we want to do that twice a week?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right. So if we expand, and so we weren't sure we wanted to do that.
Okay.
And so we thought about corporate stores. We opened up a few licensed stores.
Right.
So before franchising, we licensed the concept and we opened up 5 stores, mostly with either friends or clients.
Okay.
When we're like, hey, we're going to expand. A lot of people that were actually clients were like, hey, could I do that?
Yeah.
We were asking them if they knew anyone, and we had people be like, hey, I saw the results it did with my dog. I saw how the system works. And
do this, right?
Yeah, I want to do this. So we ran 5 corporate stores for 2 years.
Okay.
With, one individual that came into corporate, we trained them, and then they ran that store.
Licensed them the name and the logo and stuff.
Correct. Like that. We trained them, we licensed them everything. And then what actually happened is they started to be like, hey, I don't want to get paid once a month. Can we franchise or do something where the money goes into my account? So really we're working on, hey, are we going to do corporate stores or, franchise? The thing with corporate stores too is if you really want to keep an A player, giving them equity at some point is almost a given.
Yeah. They want to own their little business there. Yeah.
They do at some point.
Right.
Maybe not but at some point.
Yeah.
And so I think franchising just made the most sense for us. So then after 2 years, we fixed everything that was not working. Like we started a call center.
Okay.
The call center did the billing for them. And then we got a product center and we order all the products for them. So they're not having to order their flyers, shirts, etc. Basically everything that was a hang up that would be a hang up for franchising, we figured out during those 2 years.
Got it. With the 5 test stores, like basically.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, that's what's missing in a lot of these smaller franchises, that they don't get the support from the franchisor.
Right.
And they start asking themselves, why am I paying this guy for his name? And when I'm doing all the work, each franchisee is doing all the work. But if you're centralizing things and using your quantity discounts and taking
absolutely.
care of it for them.
Yeah.
Most of these guys want to deal with employees and train dogs, right? I mean,
that's what they're doing with us. I mean, we book all their calls.
Yeah.
We book their calendars. If they got 12 employees, we book all 12 of their calendars.
Really?
We do all their billing.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
So what would you say has been the biggest challenge of, franchising?
Well, so we do a 6-week initial training.
Okay.
10 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 weeks.
On-site?
On-site. We do virtual training before that.
Okay.
So it's very intensive. That's the biggest pushback. We started at like 4, but then we pushed it to 6.
Right. Because you want quality, right? You
Absolutely.
want your product to be the same
yes.
where they go. That's important. Yeah. Okay.
The biggest issues we had were really fixed in those first 2 years because I give people a 20-page document. Hey, here's how to order everything you're going to need.
Like an operating manual. They didn't.
Yeah. So instead, we just have to set up national accounts.
Right.
We order everything. They go to one site. We handle all the shipping. Half of it's drop shipped. Half of it's warehoused in Tulsa. My team handles it for cheaper than they can get it on their own. So we get it below wholesale, sell it at wholesale. Everyone's, they don't have to think.
Right. Yeah.
They're focused on the money-making activities.
It really is a business in a box. This is what franchising should be.
Right.
A lot of franchisors, they just want to collect royalties and they don't want to be bothered with helping the franchisees, but it doesn't help their business ultimately anyway.
Right. Yes. I mean, we just spent a year on new call center, like custom call center software.
Nice. To be able to
and so that's
everything, right? You want to know all your metrics.
Right. So that stuff's a pain, but if I can do that and then the person doing training can solely focus like what you're saying on training and sales, then, it's a lot easier.
Got it. So they do a lot of their own sales, but you just do the booking. And,
correct.
Now what about the call center? Are you doing advertising in the region and people call the call center to get appointments at the location?
Correct. So we actually do their marketing too. So we have 2 different external marketing companies that we contract with. Mm-hmm. And then, so depending on their goals, the franchisee goals, we run the marketing funnels straight into the call center.
Okay.
So we take those, all the calls are recorded. We book all their appointments, put them on their schedule around whatever openings they give us. And then it goes to them. They do fulfillment. They go out and say they sell a boot camp for $3,000. We book it. We book the pickup, handle the invoicing.
Nice. All right. Well, why don't we do this? Let's take a break for some commercials and we'll come back and talk more because this is really a great, forget about the fact that we both love dogs. This is a great discussion about what a franchise should look like. And I have people that are looking at franchises and, they don't look at the right thing. And then they buy into these franchises in whatever restaurant or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're like lost, they might as well have a bag over their head. They're just doing it on their own. They're blind and they're paying a lot of money too.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me, can I get out of this? What's my contract and the whole thing? So, all right, let's take a little break and then we'll come back.
Perfect.
All right. Sounds good. Let me mute you.
Here's a word from our sponsors.
Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? AWeber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. AWeber, the best alternative for online marketing. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free. Are you struggling with managing advertising due to a lack of time or expertise? Perhaps you're facing challenges in scaling ads for your store. Are you feeling lost when strategies have no success? GSM Growth Agency is your reliable partner in overcoming these business challenges. Feel the impact of collaborating with a team dedicated not only to short-term goals, but also to building long-term partnerships and achieving sustained success. Embark on an exciting journey to redefine the possibilities of e-commerce and create a legacy of unparalleled excellence. Take decisive action now. Follow their link in the show notes to receive a complimentary audit of your Shopify store conducted by a GSM expert. Propel your e-commerce game to new heights with GSM Growth Agency. Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show.
All right, Ryan. So as I was saying before, I deal with a lot. I'm a business lawyer. I've been doing this for 32 years. So I deal with a lot of small businesses, and they get involved with franchises, and they think it's going to be, oh, this is going to be great. Everything's super. And then they're getting no support from the franchisor. And I would say that's probably on top of the industry or what the business is, right? Maybe they don't like dogs or whatever, but what the franchisor does for its franchisees is like the most important thing.
Right.
If not, you just start your own business and fail on your own, right? You don't be paying you a fee.
Right.
It's crazy. It's not like, you and I are Microsoft and we have this name that's got Burger King is by a better one. Burger King and McDonald's, right? If you open a McDonald's and you're in the middle of the Midwest, somebody's driving down a field, they have pretty good confidence as to what's in that store. But if the name didn't mean anything, our names don't really. So then the question is, what do they get from you? And I think it's not easy, right? I mean, it takes work to
it takes a lot of
all
work.
these systems in place. Yeah. So
they're buying the systems. When you buy a franchise, you're buying the systems and the support structures. Those are, franchise should be like bumper lane bowling, and those bumpers are support and systems.
It's a good analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so most, like in the dog training space, no one has a call center. There's one company that answers occasionally, and they'll only book initial appointments. But say you're, take your business.
Franchises also, they're franchisor.
Yes, they're a franchisor. Yeah. But so like even in legal, like someone who graduates law school, are they going to be good at listening to recorded calls and training admins to answer the phone properly?
No way.
Not a chance.
No. They have no experience.
No, it's not their cup of tea. Do they understand Google AdWords? That's rapidly changing SEO game and the different algorithms Google pops out every 6 months. No. Do they want to? No.
They have to hire somebody.
Correct. So we do those. Now the catch is with franchising, or especially with dog training, is it's work.
Yeah.
If you buy a tip-top canine, you're going to work. Like I talked to someone yesterday. I was like, hey.
Yeah. You don't have just the business thing. You also have animals you got to deal with.
Yeah. You're taking care of someone's child.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
This is someone's fur child.
Yep.
And you must take care of it exceptionally well.
Right.
Right.
And they think you're going to be a miracle worker, by the way. Usually when I have a friend going to a training facility or a group training or whatever, they're hiring a guy. Oh, this is going to change our life. And I go, but you got to put your time in. It's going to be hard,
Yeah, I just straight up tell people, hey, the catch is it's real work. Yeah. Dog training's fun. I have people that clock 6-7 miles a day on their Apple Watch walking. Loose leash walking is one of our biggest things.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got to walk dogs, potty dogs, etc.
Well, the worst is a dog that pulls you.
Yeah,
bad for the dog, bad for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things we handle all the time. But yeah, as far as systems go, when someone's looking at a FDD, right, a franchise disclosure document, they want to see, hey, what services am I paying for? Not just the royalty,
right?
They're paying for the brand and the systems, etc. But like the support structures, do I have to answer my phone or is someone else answering it?
Right.
What all type of answering are they doing? Who's responsible for the billing?
Yeah.
Who's responsible for the marketing?
Right. How are you going to be tied into my success?
Correct.
Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not a business guy. That's why I'm doing this franchise to begin with.
Exactly.
I love dogs, and that's it.
And that's why a lot of the franchises, they'll require a certain net worth because then they'll only get business guys.
Right.
Right. If you require a $2 million liquid net worth, you only get a certain type of person.
Of course. Right.
But I mean, our franchise fee is $48,000 right now.
Yeah. No, that's entry.
Right. Yeah. It's entry. Like you could get 2 credit cards and get that.
Right. And by the way, I don't want to single out dog lovers, but if you want to be a dog trainer and you want to go in this business, you probably don't have a $2 million net worth.
No.
Buy 4 franchises and just hire people to run them, which probably.
Yeah. No. Go get a Jimmy John's. Don't buy a dog train. This is like, hey, someone's like,
right.
Hey, it was an HVAC technician.
Right.
The guy that was an HVAC technician. He owns he just bought 2 more. So he owns 3 in Texas now and 1 in Oklahoma.
These are HVAC franchises, or
No. He's a franchisee of Tip Top.
nice.
He bought one when we started. He was a client first.
Okay.
Right. So he was a technician, right? He goes and works on people's heating and air units, right, at their house before Tip Top. I trained his dog personally 12 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Then he was like, "Oh, you're franchising? I want to do that. That'd be fun."
Yeah.
Right. No business experience. No one in his family has ever owned one. He ran it out of his house for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then he bought land and put a building on there.
Nice.
Yeah. But like, he doesn't know anything about ads
but he's got you. It's got you.
Yeah.
For it,
You know what he does? He works his freaking ass off.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so when we gave him the systems, and he's like, dude, I'm already working on heating units when it's 20 degrees and 120 degrees.
It's nothing, right? Yeah, exactly.
I got to train dogs all day? Are you freaking kidding me?
This is great.
Yeah.
Now, when you bring guys on, do you want to them sign on to like development deals where they're
Nope.
No, do they just do one off?
They can do one off. They can stay owner operator as long as they want.
Yeah.
We coach them monthly on their goals.
Yeah.
So we got people like that guy, Adam. He's fine, 70 hours a week. He took his wife off. He wants to stack cash to the ceiling. We got other people there like, hey, I want to tell me what I need to put in. Eventually, I want to work 25, 30 hours a week. I want to work less than 40.
Yeah.
I want to work 3 days a week.
All right.
Okay.
So it's a lifestyle business. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We coach them around their goals.
Now, is your model, we don't have to get into numbers, but is your financial model work if somebody has one location? Can they make a living running one location? Because, there are some franchises where, like restaurant things, where you make ice cream thing. Maybe you make $30,000, $40,000 a location. You really need several of them.
No.
To be making good money.
Yeah, no, we have a guy, he worked, he's in Myrtle Beach right now. He worked at New York City ER for 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah, head nurse.
Training dogs is nothing for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's just at crazy hours. And so he's been owner operating for the last year and a half, and he loves it because it's almost, he's working his butt off, but it's different work from what he was doing. And the people love him compared to before.
Right.
Right. And so he's just getting ready to hire, but he's worked basically by himself. He has got a 20-hour week part-timer guy that helps him take care of the dogs. And he's been owner operator the last year and a half. Right. And he could do that as long as he wanted.
Right. Well, because he has a marketing department and sales department and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many locations you have? I think you said it in your opening. 20.
So we have 24. 20 are live for our opening first quarter next year.
Nice. So how do you do the franchisee development on your side? You have a sales group, or like how are you sourcing your franchisees?
Yeah. So I actually vet them all.
Your personal.
Yes.
That's going to get hard.
We turn down a lot of people.
Yeah.
We accept people too, but it's not just people come with a check all the time because it's low. Right. And so once they see the item 19 and they see the gross revenue and how many, gross revenues are high in-home businesses, then a lot of people want to throw a check real quick. But we want a real big culture fit, like someone's carrying on the brand. Yeah.
You want to be successful. And it doesn't help you if they're not successful, committed to the brand, right? So that's not even worth getting the check. It causes you more damage.
Yeah, if we just wanted the check, we just triple the fee and then hire brokers to do the sales for us. But we don't want to do that. We want to build a long-term brand. I've been doing it 15 years. I care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. Like I've had franchisors where they were just signing people up and taking checks, and it's going to be great. And next thing you know, they got to take a half a dozen of them back because these people are sleeping in the back and they're not doing anything and they're not as committed as he is.
Yeah.
And it's really, want to be successful. You need successful people to be around on your team, I guess. So say, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we vet them pretty hard, and then they come in for a discovery day. We train dogs hands-on, 8-10 hours, make sure they know exactly what it is. I normally tell them, I had a few calls yesterday. I want to tell them right up the front about, hey, we do a 6-week straight, 6 days a week, 10-hour a day. That's going to weed some people out right off the bat.
Then that's good.
Yeah, someone that's at least a 40% owner has to come to that.
I get it, because you get some partners and stuff they're doing.
Correct. But someone that's at least with some skin in the game has to come to that. Okay. And then that way I know right off the bat, we're going to have somebody who's got some skin in the game and some hustle muscle. And if we got that, then we can rock and roll.
Now, you're looking for guys with some background in any kind of animal training?
Nope.
Just as long as they have the They answer the questions. You think they got
Sometimes the background people are actually harder because the thing is, dogs are so smart. You can have horrible technique and the dog will eventually pick it up.
Yeah. And they already have bad habits. So
correct.
Yeah.
So we almost prefer no background. Business background preferred.
Yeah.
Not necessary, but preferred. The biggest locations, they have some business background.
Yeah, because it's too daunting to open a big.
Right. They have no issue hiring month 3, moving into facility month 6, hiring 3 more month 7. Yeah. Right. Because it's just numbers to them.
Right. Now here's a good question, because I'm a big proponent of it, but some people, do you require all your franchisees, they got to write a business plan as to how they're going to, and submit it to you and say, this is what it doesn't have to be like crazy. You don't, huh?
Yeah.
So how do they demonstrate to you what their plan is to grow their one franchise, multiple, whatever? So how do they get that through to you?
So basically we show them when they come in for a day and they look at what it's like. Our first goal is they pay back. The goal that we would have for them is they pay back, they pay themselves back for all their initial investment within like 6 months or so.
Okay.
And then they make whatever their goals are. So when we have conversations, we have multiple conversations with people. Hey, what are your financial goals? Are these realistic, et cetera? And then we are normally helping them with goals. Because if someone's has no business experience,
right,
and they've only worked, so our newest location owner, he's 21. He was an employee here at corporate for 2 years.
Okay.
He can't write a business plan.
Well, but he could put something down to show you.
Sure, he can. Yeah. But he knows. I know what one person can do gross revenue wise, and it can more than double where salary he's at right now.
Okay.
Right. And then so from there, we got to coach him and we show them the model. Hey, this is what it looks like for the owner operator.
Uh-huh.
And then you're going to go from owner operator to manager. And then the next 2 people you're going to hire is a boot camp person, a lesson person. And then you're going to go from manager to owner and you're going to hire a salesperson. And then from there, you're either going to grow that team while stepping in as needed. And then once you can fulfill all 3 of those roles, then you can either choose, hey, do you want, depending on how much money you want to make or what area you're at, do you want to go open a second location? Or do you not want to be that big? And do you want to keep some of that role and take that person's salary too, plus owner profit?
So you kind of write the business plan for them. You take them through the process.
Most of the people buying a Tip Top have no business experience.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They have no business experience. So we do monthly.
Right.
Yeah. So our newest one in Idaho 4 months ago, we do weekly and then biweekly and then monthly. So we've done 4 months of almost weekly business coaching calls with them.
How are they doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Her husband was a truck driver. She actually worked in the call center for me. She pulled her husband. Yeah. She worked in the call center. And then she's like, I think I could do this too. I see some of the other people are doing it. I could do this. And her husband's gone 23, 25 days out of the month because he was a truck driver.
Right.
And they make he's making $100,000 plus. Right. And then in 4 months, she's able to make enough to start to cover his salary and bring him in off the road. And then he came to corporate for training.
Yeah. It seems to be like your franchisor location is a hotbed for franchisees.
Yeah, we have a lot of people from here. And we have a lot of clients and people. Yeah, we're starting to get more. We're getting a lot of leads now, but early on, a lot of it was internal.
Of course. I mean, look,
a lot
of my clients came from local referrals, and it took a long time before I started getting things off the internet, and I got to know.
Right.
It's time that does that thing. Now, have any locations failed, or you said, listen,
ask me the hard questions, Mitch. What a lawyer. Yeah.
or maybe you shut them down and say, listen, this is not working for you. We're taking it back.
We just had a guy, he wants to go back to school, right? And he wants to go to seminary and he wants to be a pastor.
Okay.
Right. And so his winded down, and it was my, one of our sales guys here at corporate who's actually going out and taking that territory. So he wanted to wind his down.
Failing. He was just, he got interested in something else.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm done. I want to do this instead. I'm feeling called.
Right.
Okay.
But any franchisees that struggle because they don't listen to you?
Yeah. We haven't had any terminations though.
Okay.
Anywhere we've had to be like, hey, send out the default letters and terminate their agreement. Yeah.
Showing up and taking over.
Right.
Right. But I mean, so I guess, you know what's good about the way you do things in your system is that you're going to see things early on if the person's not working and following the protocol and working the plan that you've laid out for them.
Yeah, we know because we handle all the client stuff. They can't hide the refunds. They can't hide the unhappy clients. Like we hear about it.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah. It gets pushed up for our coaching calls, and we're able to handle it with quick feedback loops instead of, hey, I did the wrong thing for 8 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's a lot to be said for that, right? Because you're a franchisor and you're not really hands-on, and they're all out there running and doing stuff. You think everything's great. It may not be, and it may be much harder to fix than if you keep them on the path and help.
Again, our model is towards that person that has a love for dogs. Like right now, 40% of people in the U.S. want to own their own business. Most of those 40 don't have business experience. Right. So our model is dog lovers with not much business experience. So it's set up how it is for that reason.
There's so many people that shouldn't be in business for themselves. And I'm including, like, as a franchisee, you're not really in business for yourself if you're with the right franchisor.
Right.
Not alone. That's the whole, that's the whole model. Now, if you found any, like on the legal side, the compliance, the complexities of running a franchise, is it difficult, or you just have a good team and they take care of it and nothing to worry about? I know we talked about you had a 6-hour compliance meeting today. So.
Yeah. It was only 4.5-hour compliance meeting.
It was a light day.
Yeah. The legal with franchising is a lot, man. A lot.
Right. File in every state that you start to go into, right? If you're like, oh, we're going to offer it in North Carolina, we got to file there now.
Right. Yeah. So, going over the different compliance needs in Virginia and California specifically, there's a lot. It's a lot in every state, and it's not easy. That's probably the hardest part, is the legal and the compliance. Early on, the writing of the franchise disclosure document and the franchise agreements.
Yeah, that's a hurdle at the beginning.
Yeah, but the ongoing compliance is,
right.
I'm not a legal professional like you. It's not my jam.
No.
But it has to be in franchising. Like compliance is a must.
Right.
Like it is so big. It's not something like, oh, I'm just speeding and I get a ticket. No,
not anymore.
You're in the
somebody said big leagues. Like, well, McDonald's, that must have been so. I go, they didn't have the rules that they have now.
Yeah,
in those days, franchising was just like another business. It didn't really, matter. So they would just take care of it that way. So here's something. Are you familiar with the business, the beneficial owner information report from Financial Crimes? This BOIR everybody's talking about.
Oh, yes. And
they just put a temporary.
Just a pause on. I just got an email on that.
Yeah. So all your franchisees have to file those, right? So you is that something you guys communicate, or that's kind of their problem?
On that, most of them know that wasn't communicated from us. They all have to have their bookkeepers and accountants, etc.
Got it. Yeah. No. So what there is there was this case in Texas that this is unconstitutional. There's temporary injunction, but I tell all my clients, just file it. And it's on one time anyway, unless you're a money launderer, which is probably a bigger problem.
Yeah, we filed it for our entities.
Exactly. So just be done with it. Because if not, you know what they're going to do? They're going to lift that, and everybody's going to be running to do it. You're going to have a deadline. It's going to be something else you got to do. Yeah, so I was just wondering. So they got to deal with that their own stuff.
Yeah, at the same time, it's still their business. So we support them and we coach them, but it's still their business.
Right. They got to make sure that they don't.
Correct. I don't make sure they file their sales taxes. Correct. Like they have to file their sales tax.
Yeah. Yeah, and every state's different.
Right.
Employee stuff, right?
Yep.
Follow the DOL rules, and depending on what the state is. Now, what would you say you think are the biggest mistakes that some of these guys make? Because you obviously fix them or you help them along the way. What are some of the mistakes you see that they, need your help with or do wrong?
Yeah.
Or something like
the biggest mistake is not wanting to spend enough on digital ads.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So our biggest location. So our reports just went out today to our franchisees on where everybody are metrics, right?
Huh?
And the leaderboard is always the people spending the most on ads.
Got it.
I mean,
this is their own ads, not your call center stuff that you're doing.
So they're on Google, YouTube, Facebook, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to spend money on ads.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they want to go up and down and up and down. And we have minimums, but I mean, the people really killing it are spending 4 to 5 times the minimum.
Yeah, because organic doesn't do it anymore.
No, it doesn't.
But it's like the base.
Yeah. I mean, it helps. Yeah. It's just the base. So that's a big one. And then not understanding how long it will take to actually hire an A player.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of an employee, a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, again, so we hire dog trainers.
Right.
Now, the good thing, so we do group interviews because we have so many people apply.
Okay.
Right.
For franchisees or for
No.
employees?
So I run a corporate store, franchising company, and a product company, right?
Okay.
So at our corporate store, like yesterday, we had 30 people show up for the group interview for dog trainer.
Okay.
But again, I'm going to send someone to people's houses. I'm going to, they're going to pay $3,000 to $6,000 for like a boot camp. They need to be presentable. They need to be an A
before
player.
you hire them, they got to take a boot camp.
No. Sorry, the end client. The end client's going to pay $3,000 to $6,000.
Customer.
Yeah. So I can't have someone rough,
I understand.
etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have to be presentable and professional too.
Right, but that group thing then gets broken down to individual interviews, right?
Correct.
The vetting process and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, are your franchisees have to do that too, right?
Correct. But most of them, you're asking on biggest mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. So most of them, now they're working 70 hours a week. They went on a 3 to 4 week wait list, and they're like overloaded now. Finally, everything's working. Well, we saw that coming 3 months ago when the reports start a certain trajectory, and you just do the math.
Yeah.
Charting's not like a science, right? It's if you look at the graph and it starts to go vertical.
Oh, right. There's a reason for that. Yeah. Exactly. It's not going to flatten.
So they need to hire 3 to 4 months normally before they need to.
Yeah.
And most of them don't.
Yeah. So then they're probably making bad decisions, hiring the wrong people, right? Because you're
Correct.
there and you're like, well, Ryan, I don't know. I got 3 weeks left. I need somebody. You seem like a nice guy. Come start Monday, right?
Exactly.
Turn like bad choices. Yeah.
Yep. That's the second biggest one. Ad spend would be the first.
Okay.
And the second is not running interviews. Because I mean, sometimes it might take 3 months to really find a good person.
Yeah. Yeah. People are really bad at assess. They really are. And you need you kind of need an objective way to evaluate people, or emotionally you're just going to make bad decisions all the time.
Right. So objectively, we have people, we do a group interview, and then we do one-on-ones. We do shadow days. So like we had a shadow day, and I went down there for 20 minutes to kind of check in with the people, see how my managers are doing. And the guy that looks ultra presentable looks like he is on it. He has no hand-eye coordination, and he is horrible at dog training. So we put hands on, we show him, and I'm like, wow, this he's really bad. And this other guy, who I think he's starting Monday, he was a rock star. And so we could see after 4 or 5 hours of training someone. But if they wait, so say I only had one good person, and that took me 3 months to get that one good person in. Well, now I need to run another month or 2 interviews.
Yeah, now you're going to have another problem.
Yep.
It's painful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the 2 biggest ones we see.
Yeah, and then you probably lose business because the people are waiting too long to get in. They got to find some other alternative. And it's not like there aren't dog trainers around. They might not have your system, but who knows, right? There's no differentiation for these people. They really don't know.
They don't know.
So what's so we're coming up on 50 plus minutes. What's the future for the business model, and where are you going with the whole thing?
Yeah, so we're growing. Our goal internally isn't to grow too fast. We want to keep growing, but because we do heavy support, we're not partnered with any brokers or anything to just explosively grow. Right. We want to keep growing quality. We want to keep having our people have multiple locations and support that. So right now we're at 24, and our current goal is to 40. And then at that point, we have to reassess call center softwares, and if we need another building to build our call center out even bigger to support more than that.
Fall flat on your face. So you said 25. Is that 25 locations or 25 franchisees?
Locations.
Okay, got it. So there are some multiples, so it's not necessarily.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, we actually have 5 that are they have 2 locations, and then one with 3.
Got it. Yeah, so it's less people to deal with. Yeah, that's cool. No, I think it's awesome. I mean, I think the whole business thing is great. The model's great. If anybody's listening, they can check you out, right? We got the website. And
they can go to the website, tiptopk9.com, click on the franchising tab, and then fill out the form. Eventually, you'll talk to some of the team, and then you'll be routed to me.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's listening, it's a good lesson especially if you have a small franchise, what to do to get the right people. Don't take anybody, and put systems in place to support them. Because at the end of the day, if you're not giving them something, like the support to run the business, then like I said before, like why are they doing this? They can just open, right? You and I can rent a building. And
Absolutely.
You did, actually. You rented a building, you started dog training, and you figured it out. You started the business. But
so like our people should be able to ramp up what took me 5-6 years to do. We were seeing people doing like a year.
Yeah, exactly. Really because
that's why you should buy a franchise. And if you can't do that, then you should start your own.
Exactly, because then you're not getting anything. I always felt that if you're buying into a franchise and someone else can open up down the road that can easily compete with you because they can't because of the support you give them, right? Then what are you paying for?
Yeah. I've had 3 guys that I trained personally open up their own and then quit. Shut down.
Oh, they literally like left.
No. They opened up their own dog training like a competing thing.
Yeah.
Right. But they didn't last more than a year and a half because they have the dog training side because I trained them.
Right.
But they didn't have everything else.
No, you're obviously a good business guy and you're out there doing all the because I'm sure you do a lot less hands-on stuff nowadays because you
absolutely way less.
Keep yourself busy. Yeah. You can't keep up with it. Do you take on dogs here and there just to keep yourself because you love dogs?
A few months ago, I took on a double super aggressive psychotic pit bull lesson.
Oh, that's tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had someone in and they were shadowing. And since I sold the appointment and then I was like, I'm doing these lessons. This is awesome. No one can stop me. I am the boss.
You're in. Yeah. Right, yeah. So how many dogs do you have at home?
4. At home, we got 4 dogs.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah. I got 4 dogs, a mouse, a raccoon, and 15 chickens.
Yeah. So you live on a big piece of property. The dogs can run
half an acre and an HOA.
Oh, no, that's half an acre is New Jersey. Out west, New Jersey. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's small for being in the Midwest. I would think with 4 big dogs, you'd have like 5-6 acres for them to run.
Not yet. We'll get there. So,
all right. So, Ryan, I appreciate you spending time with me on a Friday.
Absolutely, man.
And let's definitely stay in touch. Watch you grow. Maybe we'll come back, in a year or so.
Let's go.
A little update show, and so it's tiptopcanine.com, right?
Correct.
And everybody check out Ryan. And thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks, Mitch.
Have a great weekend. Stick around. We will play the credits.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinhackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinhacker and produced by Beinhacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinhackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.